Good morning students. I Vishalanand. Today I teach you chapter 10, the Mauryan administration in history. Our first topic is sources. The Mauryan administration was based on the guidelines for good governance laid down by Chanakya in Arthashastra. The edicts of Ashoka and Indika by Megasthenes give us a vivid account of the Mauryan rule. Now, next topic is administration. The Mauryan king had supreme power. He was advised by council of ministers called the Mantri Parishad. The government was divided into different departments, example, treasury, industry, revenue, security, etc. Treasury, industry, revenue, security, etc. Each department was looked after by official appointment by the king. Official like Mahamantas looked after the day-to-day work of the administration. The vast empire was divided into provinces. Most of the important provinces were placed under the control of princes from the royal family called Kumaras. They ruled as viceroys or representative of the king. The provinces were divided into districts. Each district had many nagaras or nagar, towns and grams or villages. At every level of administration, there were officials who looked after the day-to-day affairs of the government. Now, next up is Patliputra. The capital city of the Mauryan Empire was Patliputra. The administration of this city served as a model for city administration. There were 6 committees, each consisting of 5 members. Each committee was in charge of particular department. The committees were industries, record of births and deaths, care and control of foreigners, trade and commerce, manufacture and sale of goods, collection of taxes. These 30 members also look after common problems related to health, sanitation, education, etc. The king had an elaborate spy system which kept him informed about his viceroys and officials as well as what was going on inside and outside his kingdom. The Mauryan king had a large, well-equipped standing army. The army included infantry, cavalry, elephants, chariots and a navy. There was a separate department to look after the production of weapons. The army was always kept in a high state of readiness even during Ashoka's reign. The Patliputra was a magnificent walled city with numerous gates and vast towns. It was well connected to various parts of the empire. The king lived in a grand stone place. Next topic is Mauryan art. The Mauryan period was an age of cultural brilliance. The artists and achievement of this period can be seen in the numerous stupas, monolithic pillars, caves and sculptured figures of the Ashokan period. Mauryan art was greatly influenced by Buddhism. Ashoka is supposed to have built 84,000 stupas throughout the kingdom. Stupas are solid semicircular dome-like structure made of stone and bricks. Relics of Buddha, such as his hair, tooth, etc., were kept at the base of the stupa. The Great Stupa at Sachi is an outstanding specimen of Mauryan architecture. The Mauryan also built many prayer halls and viharas like monasteries. Monolithic pillars inscribed with the edicts of Ashoka are the best example of the remarkable skill and quality of Mauryan artists. The surface of the stone pillar were highly polished. The pillar at Sarnath is the most famous. The lion capital of this pillar is the most magnificent piece of sculpture of the Mauryan period. 4 lions sitting back to back on a circular base have been exactly cut out from a single piece of stone. The base is decorated with sculpture of 4 animals separated by 4 wheels of Dharmchakra. The lion capital was adopted as the national emblem of India in 1950. A picture of the lion capital is also printed on Indian currency notes. The wheel representing motion and progress can be seen in our national flag. Topic is Mauryan economy. The Mauryan rulers had unified the country and brought peace and stability. These favorable conditions provided the growth of the economy and made the empire rich and prosperous. Agriculture was the main occupation of the people. Farmers were encouraged to bring more land under cultivation. Irrigation facilities were provided to them and revenue collected from the farmers was the chief source of income for the king. Other economic activities include mining and forestry as well as carpentry, pottery and masonry. Trade and commerce also flourished. The merchant carried on both inland and overseas trade. They had trade relation with Sri Lanka, Egypt and Greece. Taxes were also collected from people who worked in mines, forests and other professions. This helped to pay salaries of officers, maintain the army and build roads and hospitals. Now one last and next topic is decline of the Mauryan Empire. Ashoka's death in 2032 BC marked the beginning of the decline of the Mauryan Empire. There were many reasons for it. Ashoka's successor was weak and inefficient. The empire was too vast and it was not easy to control the far-flung territories. In the absence of strong central authority, the provincial viceroys declared themselves independent. The expenses maintaining a large standing army and an elaborate administration system was a heavy drain on the state treasury. The last Mauryan ruler, Bridharth, was killed by Pushymitra Sangha, the founder of the Sangha dynasty. Thus ended a long and glorious chapter in the history of ancient India. Value and life skills of this chapter. It is important for every country to value its history and heritage. Valuing our past is an important part of the taking pride in our country. Now students, this is all for today. Read the chapter once again. Thank you.